Good afternoon, everyone. We're going to go ahead and get started. Welcome to Great Strides, Engaging and Motivating Your Team Year-Round. This afternoon, we have three great speakers who will share their Great Strides experience with you. We are going to do this very open format. There is no panel. They are just going to talk to you and encourage you guys to talk to each other and ask questions during the session. Each speaker is going to speak, 5-7 minutes, and then they will open the floor to you guys. And we want this to be collaborative, and we welcome an exchange of ideas, and we want to hear what you guys are doing. There are some handouts I want to point out on the table. We have a Who Do You Know, which is just a worksheet that you guys can take home with you. The other is a sample fundraising plan you guys can take home with you. And what I think is the most important one is the one where you exchange information with each other. It's just a blank template, so you guys can collect the names and numbers of all your new best friends that you've met here at VLC. So for those of you guys joining us online, please feel free to submit questions throughout the presentation using the online question, and we will answer them throughout the presentation. And without further ado, it is my pleasure to introduce Janet Weiner.
Hi, I'm Janet Weiner, and I've been asked to come and talk to you guys a little bit about my family's Great Strides Passion fundraising event, which is called Wiener Roast. And just by backtrack just a little to tell you a little bit about my family and our story. My husband Harvey and I, who is watching, hi Harv, we have two kids with CF, Matthew, who is 23, and Melissa, who's 21. Very proud of them. Matt is a recent college grad, graduated in May of 2017. He is majored in biology and computer science, and he is now working as a government scientist, so I'm very proud of him. And living independently with his girlfriend. And my daughter Melissa is in her third year of college, and she is majoring in marketing and a student ambassador with a part-time job, and she's had some serious health challenges, but she has really conquered everything, and we're very proud of her as well. So one of the reasons I raise that is because I think you can tell from how we've raised our kids that we never wanted to let CF define them. And when you have a last name like Weiner, you need to embrace that. And so one of the frequent things that was said in our house growing up was, especially when you're talking about doing treatments and things like that, we were like, we are Wieners, not whiners. So you are going to be doing your treatments. We are Wieners, not whiners. So our event, Wiener Roast, started about 7 years ago. It was pretty much a thank you party for our donors and walkers that came to Great Strides. We have been doing a Great Strides letter and going to the walk ourselves for about 20 years. We did it when my daughter was first diagnosed as an infant. We did a letter writing campaign. We followed what everyone else here has probably done. We sent letters to pretty much everyone we know, and there wasn't Facebook and all that stuff back then. And most of our contributions were and continue to be in the $25 to $50 range. I mean, we don't know too many Bill Gates types, so we could only raise so much. We felt we had really hit the wall on that. When we went to the walk, we enjoyed ourselves, but we never felt like we could really properly thank everybody. Our folks were mixed in with everybody else, and so at one point we just decided after the walk we'd have people come back and do just like a hot dog roast in our backyard. And we picked hot dogs because of our name, and they're easy to cook, and we just were the ones buying them and cooking them, and just as a thank you for folks coming out and walking. Using the Passion fundraising tools that came out around 7 years ago, though, our event really grew dramatically. Last year we did it, we raised $52,000 because and that's a lot more than we had ever previously raised. We had about a couple hundred attendees. We serve all-you-can-eat hot dogs and soft drinks and cotton candy and homemade cookies. We have a DJ. We have a photo booth. We do lawn games. We have a limbo contest. We have a jewelry vendor that makes CF wish bracelets, and we have door prizes. We give prizes for people who show up in Wiener-themed items. So I also am asking everyone out here, like, you've got my cards. If you see a Wiener-themed item, let me know about it, because We do have all kinds of interesting stuff that gets sent to us. I put a couple cards on the table. This is our save the date card. We send these out, and it just shows a little bit what we do. So a couple of lessons learned that we have. Come up with an event that you really enjoy. Wiener roast is fun for us. It's fun for our friends and family. It's very low key. Nobody is expecting, fancy flower arrangements or anything like that. And we have a good time. And our friends come in from near and far. I mean, we have friends that come in every year from across the country just to be with us there. Even if you start small, and we did, your event can grow organically. The first Wiener roast, we just had a couple friends that were like, hey, I'll help you decorate the yard and make a couple cousin cookies, and people were offering to help us clean up afterwards. And then as time went on, people would be like, you need our help. Like, why don't I take on being the cookie person? And why don't I take on finding the decor? And why don't I take on helping you with the auction items? And so people started asking if they could help, and they want to help. And it has two effects. One is that you don't have to do everything, which is really nice. And the other is that when people help, they tend to give more. So the donations that were 25 went to 50 and 100, and in some cases higher than that. And it would surprise you. It's not always, who you think of that will come forward like that. People that I didn't know that well would come forward and spend, hundreds of hours working with me. Now the event's so well known in our little community that businesses are approaching us and asking us, can we donate something for your silent auction? And so now even our hot dogs are donated. We don't have to buy them anymore, which is nice. We now have a committee structure, teams of people working on different jobs. I coordinate most of it, but having those additional sets of hands makes a real difference. The key lesson is having more people involved. And the overwhelming majority of those people that are involved donate, and they donate more generously than they did before. The other lesson for me was that we're always trying to grow the next generation of donors. So our kids are early 20s, in college, just in their first jobs. And when we first started the event, it was a lot of kids that were in our crew team. Our kids were both athletes. And the crew team would come to the events, and there was some very large young men that ate a lot of free hot dogs and didn't donate. But many of those are now in their first jobs and donating. So we're really hopeful that my daughter's sorority sisters and others on my son's workplace will join us now and come on board. Passion fundraising site's really easy to use. Couple of tips. Customize your URL to your site's name. Mine is wienerroastpassioncff.org. You can do that. It's really easy to do, and people will remember it more. We send those save the date cards. I left a couple on the table. I think those help. We have a social media feed. We have a Facebook page which directs people to the Wiener Roast Passion site. My daughter is my social media director now, and she manages our Twitter feed, which is at Wiener Roast CFF. And Instagram, which is Wiener Roast CFF. And so what we do is every time we get an item donated for the silent auction, she puts it up, and it generates lots of interest, and people get excited about what's in our auction, and they're more likely to show up and be excited about it. So I see I'm getting the hook, so I'm going to open it up to questions.
Oh, sorry. Thanks, Kylie. I'm sorry. I just wanted to ask, and I'm sorry if you've already said this if I missed it. Did you say that it's still as a thank you party and people just do donate on your, for your walk stuff, or do they also pay like an entry fee and then everything's free except for, of course, the silent auction?
Yeah, it's a show up and stay as long as you like for no fee event. So we send an ask out in an email. And we send out a letter to people who've donated before, but anybody can show up, eat hot dogs, and just swim in the pool, have a good time, and it's worked for us. We haven't really had people just come and not do anything. I mean, except for kids, and I'm viewing that as an investment. I'm figuring they're going to come in and next time.
Talk a little bit about, because I think you're phenomenal. We're so happy to have you.
Yeah, in the beginning years and to some degree now, I mean, I would just have a letter. Actually, I always carry it with me. My ask letter for in-kind donors. It's a letter that says, our story, and then a little form that says, here's how you donate. So anytime I went to a business, any store that I frequented, and Harvey will tell you I like to shop, so I would go and if I was a person that went to that store that was a customer they knew, I would just ask, would you be willing to donate a gift card? And I've never had anyone say no. I mean, just a small $25 thing. Every store will do that. Every restaurant we go to. And then it turned into, we had friends who had a little cabin that they went to. Would you be willing to donate a weekend at your cabin? And those are the kinds of things we have. And then we find out from friends of friends, oh, my friend is in Broadway, and so we get tickets. And we have vacations. But just to show you, people don't have to have a connection to you. My husband and I went away. I had a milestone birthday. We won't go into any more detail about that. And he took me away, and we stayed at this hotel we'd never stayed at before. Really nice place. And I just said, I'm going to go in and ask them for a donation. Maybe they'll give us a one-night stay. So I asked them for a one-night stay. They gave us a two-night stay. So you can't, the only thing you hurt is your pride. So I'm willing to just ask no matter what. Yeah.
You mentioned you have a committee structure now. Can you talk about that a little bit more in detail and how you hold them accountable and how you guys work together and things like that? You mentioned... Testing? Okay. You mentioned you have a committee structure, and can you talk about how you hold them accountable, you guys do meetings, things like that? Because I think that's a great way to grow your event.
Very loose structure. I mean, the committee is mostly my friends who've, other moms of mostly crew team kids. We had worked together a lot on the crew team in putting boats out on the regatta. It was a very big endeavor, so we were kind of used to working together. But I tapped those people. But it's also some of my son's friends and my daughter's friends, or other sorority sisters that have graduated. And I'll have a meeting at my house. I'll get some, crackers and cheese and some sodas and wine, and mostly it's fun. I don't assign a lot to people. People step up because they're enthusiastic, and because I think they see that my husband and I, and now my son, because he's graduated, we do a lot, and we're kind of getting tired, but we still need that cure because we have an X mutation. And so, people they see our passion, and they want to join. So the way I do communicate with them through email, not as frequently as you would think, maybe every month or so, I'll say, I come out of those committee meetings with a list of what people have agreed to do, and then I'll just ping them back and say, how is it going on the XYZ project? And I haven't had to do that much of it because a lot of my volunteers are really committed. And you'd be surprised, it's not the people you think. Like my sister doesn't work on it. She's got her own life. Her kids are smaller. She's got a lot going on. But some other moms who's, empty nesters now, and maybe, we were friends, but they're not my sister. But they stepped up, and I have one friend who's actually moved to Montana. I live in Virginia. She does work from Montana, comes in, stays with me for a couple weeks close to the event. And, I mean, she's just 100% mine for 2 weeks. And, she's just another mom. I'm sorry. Oh, group discussion. Yes, go have a group discussion. Thank you. Who do I give this to? Okay, guys. The timekeeper is really good. So I've been asked to find out if anybody has anything they would like to share from their table. Come on. Who wants to share from their table? This table? There we go. Okay. Yeah, I'm good with that.
So the Indiana chapter that's set together, I can share for them, since they won't. My favorite part of these kind of breakouts is just hearing what other passion fundraisers are and what people do, because it's limitless. But at their table, they have So we're in the Midwest, and I didn't know until this family got involved that Jeep events, whatever you would call that, is a big deal. And they host an event they call Jeepers. And so people pay like entry fees, and they bring their Jeeps and they deck them out in CF things. And last year, this is Annie, how many years has this been? 3? This will be the 4th year. And what do you think that you'll make this year? About 25,000. I mean, I could talk all day, but I'll let someone else have the mic.
Laura Gordon.
Hi, my son is 17 now, and for years we did a hopathon at his elementary school. I need to talk about it yesterday briefly, but if anybody wants some information about it, it's an awesome event. You have the kids hop as many times as they can for 2 minutes, and they get sponsorships, and it's really awesome. You just got to get the teachers to buy in. If anybody's interested in doing a hopathon, ours raised about $8,000 a year for 10 years. So even once, Austin didn't stay in elementary school for 10 years, so even once he was gone, although he maybe should have. So even once he was gone, the school still did it. So if you are thinking about doing a hop, I've got business cards. I will send you all the documents. So just modify them for your school and your kid's name, and there you go. Yeah. Oh, and like no overhead, no risk. You just, collecting donations.
More question? One more table? Want to go? Okay, I'm going to hand it over to Dana then.
I did this earlier, and I kind of felt bad because I stood in the middle of the room, and I realized that I wasn't turning around, so my back was to people, and I kind of didn't like that. My name is Dana Blackman. I'm a member of the Greater New York chapter. My wife Jennifer and I are the family chairs of our Poughkeepsie Great Strides Walk. We've been walking since 2006, 2 months after my daughter Dana was born and diagnosed with CF. Our experience with cystic fibrosis, it's very organic, and it just kind of happened over time. That first walk, you get the trauma of the diagnosis, and everybody said, what can we do? Showed up 2 months later with like 30 people. They didn't raise money, but they just were there and they supported us. It wasn't, at that time, I started a letter writing campaign that next year. I'm an attorney, so I would send out letters to my local colleagues, and they would write back and send a donation. And branching out from that, got into the social media aspect. I saw people, my friends were on Facebook. I really was like, I have no time for that. I've got other things I've got to do. But it kind of, my daughter Dana kind of forced me into that because she was so outgoing, she was so energetic, she liked to talk. So I was like, well, if I share her story and her personality, it'll draw people in and raise money. So that's kind of what I do on Facebook. I didn't have the time to manage a personal Facebook page and a dedicated page. The way I do it, it kind of will, I guess it'll keep you engaged all year long because I'm just sharing, what Dana's doing. I'm not posting about her homework or what she had for lunch, but, she's into soccer, she's into drama club, she sings, she dances. So I'll, show a video or a clip or a posting, a photo of her doing what she loves, and then, add a link to our Great Strides website page and say, hey, would you, support her or, keep adding more breaths, adding more days. And it kind of sucked people in more. And it doesn't lead to like the social media fatigue because it's just something you kind of do. Everybody here, I'm sure, if you have children or your nieces and nephews, you go to their plays, you go to their events, and you take a picture or you're involved in it. And then you just take the time to, when you're, sitting down on your cell phone, just post it. Couple of tips I started to do to just kind of make it easier for myself is I just have the Great Strides page open on my phone so I can just kind of go there, cut and paste the link, and then just throw it either on Twitter or Instagram or Facebook, and then it pops up, and then people are brought to the page to donate. I was kind of a late adopter. I'm still not, I mean, I'm speaking about social media, but I'm not a social media guru by any means. I don't delve deeply into algorithms and how to get the most hits for your stuff. It's just kind of how to keep people interested and engaged. One of the things I like to do is to follow other pages that are CF related. So it's not always about Dana, but it might be I'm just watching and a feed about Kaleido pops up or the advancements that are being made, and I'll just share that and then just throw on, hey, you know, this has the potential for helping my daughter, and thanks to your donations over the years, this is you know, tangible proof of where your dollars are going. I know there's some older people here who are, you know, just getting into social media and don't know what a hashtag is, and that's the pound sign on the telephone. But it doesn't have to be, you know, traumatic or overwhelming. Social media is just another arrow in your quiver. You know, I still do the letter writing campaign, but I've taken to cutting and pasting my letter writing campaign, stuck it into an email, saw what kind of response I got from that. You know, a lot of people don't read emails. It might go into their spam folder. Cut and paste some of that, put it into your Facebook post. Cut it down a little shorter, put it on Twitter and throw it out there. Cut it down even shorter, add a photo to it, throw it on Instagram. A lot of these social media sites, the Cystic Fibrosis Foundation has a presence on all of these social media sites. So if you follow them, their information will pop up on your news feed, and you can share it, customize it, tailor it to your personal story, and share it with your friends. Really, social media is about how much you want to engage with it. A lot of people are like, well, Facebook is so negative and political, and there's all this stuff. And I kind of use it like, well, posting about my daughter and what she's doing is going to be your escape from all of that. This is a good story. The Cystic Fibrosis Foundation has a great story. So click on it and share the link. Some of the most powerful responses I've gotten have just been like spontaneous posts about what she's doing. When she was in 3rd grade, she was dead set on participating in her school track meet. Ended up getting a stomach blockage and had to go into the hospital and miss the meet. She said, hey, I'd like to root my friends on. So we made a 10-second video of her saying, hey guys, and you see her sitting in the hospital room. Wish I could be there with you guys. I know you're going to do great. Good luck. And then just threw that on social media, and that drew people in. Photographs actually showing what CF is in a child's life. I mean, I had been sending letters out probably 8 years before I decided to add a picture of what she actually does during the day and all the medications, and it's just sitting right there at the table in front of her. And people are responding to that, and it's like that's powerful to see that she's taking like 40 pills in a day, and she's wearing the vest. And one of the ways to also engage it throughout the year is there's always something going on, you know. St. Patrick's Day, you find a way to, hey, let's do a joke and make a donation. On her birthday, we put up a short video. Hey, I'd like to, who wants to donate to me for my birthday? Valentine's Day, it's about love. CF's about love, finding a cure. So there's ways to tie, everyday life into your social media presence and not be overwhelmed by it. So that's kind of what I do and the way I use social media. So kind of leading into that, we have a group discussion of how can social media help tell your story, fundraise, and keep people engaged year-round. So we'll have the tables discuss that for a few minutes, and then people are free to chime in with their opinions and help everybody else learn about it. Okay, we're at the actual discussion part. So do we have someone in the back that would wish to share?
Hello, everybody.
Our incoming VLC chair.
Yes. You don't have to clap. So when my boys started on Orkambi, we have a lot of people that help us. We have an army of people that help us raise money. And I knew that when something great came out, I wanted to share it with all of my volunteers. So when Orkambi came out, we did a first dose party and invited literally hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of people, and had about 200 to 300 people that showed up, and we had a party, we had a steel drum band, had food, did this, and literally played the Rocky theme as it counted down to when they took their first pills. And it was amazing, but you doing something like that is such a cool way to reach those people on social media that you could live stream it, or we videotaped it and then put pieces of it on Facebook and shared it that way, so the people who couldn't attend feel a part of it. And it ended up, even they've been on it for 2.5 years, even now I have friends that when I hear them sharing their story, I've discovered years later that that moment, being a part of that and watching that happen and knowing that they were a part of getting those pills to my kids, they've literally said that's a life-changing moment for them. So the more you could share that with your everybody who's given you a check over the years, anybody who's volunteered for anything, I mean, I think that's for us, it was a really powerful way to share the moment. So just an idea with all these drugs coming out.
And that's a great point. It's actually sharing what's coming through, and if you're doing an event or a fundraiser and you're getting donations, social media is a great way to put it out there, who your sponsors are, who your donors are. If it's a local event, shop local, tell your donors, support X, Y, and Z restaurant, or this organization donated this, and it makes the community even more embedded into your cause. And social media can put it right out there.
Hi, I'm from the Indiana chapter as well, and we live in an extremely small town, and so we don't have a lot of corporate sponsorship, and so we had to get creative. And so we decided, my family and I decided we were going to have this auction dinner, and actually Texas Roadhouse is about 20 minutes from us, and they help us with that, and they serve meals, and then we have an auctioneer that donates his time. And so my family spends a lot of time writing letters, emails, and even though there's not a lot in our town, there's a lot of surrounding towns that have zoos and museums and theme parks and hotels, and so they write letters to them, and we get all these donations in, and then we have the live auction and the dinner with it. And my daughter has cystic fibrosis. She's 20 now, but she's very good at having her friends involved. At one point, they were modeling purses and trying to make more money, and they walk around trying to do 50-50 ticket. I mean, they always have to do something to draw attention to themselves, so let them go with it. So, but anyway, we raised about $10,000 average on this auction, and it's all new items. It's nothing used. It's all from different businesses, and it's extended out into, now we put together like trip packages, like people from Florida will donate a hotel stay and tickets to this and tickets to that, and so we put it all together and make it into a trip package, and we do that in several surrounding states. I use social media to list the auction items, and so that people in the area can look on there and see what they want, so they know how much money to bring with them. So that's a big help. So a lot of people use that. We use that for social media, and my daughter will get on there and share a lot of things. And she's in college, so she shares with a totally different group of people, and then that helps too.
Yeah, I mean, it comes down to your circle and your comfort level with social media. My daughter's about to turn 12, so now I'm starting to ask her for her permission to post things from the hospital, or if she's doing her vest, where before she was 4 and 5, and she's a cute little kid. This is going out there, and so, but she likes to speak, so that's all. If you have an outgoing child with CF and they're not afraid to talk about it, that will just pull the support in. It tugs on the heartstrings. It makes a personal connection with people, and it's a great way to fundraise. Yep.
All right, so Jerry Searcherman out of Miami. So we do a lot of different things. I'm Delaney's godfather. Delaney's become famous this weekend because her Nani Bonnie was our outgoing chair. So we've done a lot of different things. We've done, on Facebook, we post anywhere from 2 to 3 months before the walk, we'll do $5 Friday. So you just put up there, Delaney would do some kind of a crazy video, last 10, 15 seconds, but it would always be, like, it would be her waking up, and she would, oh my God, it's $5 Friday. Just asking for a donation of $5. Some people give $5, some people give $50. Occasionally you'll get $500. And people will do it every week. They'll just kind of put a recurring thing, or they'll just come out and do it. One time we videotaped Delaney looking through the couch for quarters and pennies and nickels and whatever to get $5 for $5 Friday. We do the same thing for birthdays. My birthday, I'll say, you know, don't wish me a happy birthday, but make a donation. Put the link in there. Bonnie will do it for hers, her husband. My wife will do, you know, we just do it for anything we can. CF Awareness Month, which is in May. Delaney's dad would do a video with her each day, a little informational thing about CF, and then putting the link. It would be Delaney. They were at Disney World. They're on vacation, but you know what? Ready to go to the parks? Hold on. We got to do our treatment. They'd film a little segment about our treatment, and then, you know, ask for donations. So that's something that we did to try and utilize the social media aspect.
That's awesome. So I think we have time for one more comment, or if there are any questions.
Comment, because my kids are adults, and I do one thing, and I do post a lot of pictures and things like that, but I have I've been removing the tags from their names. So if the picture recognizes them, they have their own Facebook accounts. They don't pay a lot of attention to them anymore because all the kids have moved on to something else, right? They're not on Facebook anymore. But I was concerned a little bit about especially when my son was looking for a job. I didn't want a potential employer to be hit with CF before they even knew who he was. So that's just one thing I would recommend. I post my CF related, fundraising related things, and I do post a lot of them through my CF Facebook page, my CF Wiener Roast Facebook page, not as much through my personal page, so that I can have two identities. If I have a political view, it is not the view of my CF page. And I don't tag my kids on the CF Wiener Roast page, because I don't necessarily want that to be their whole lives. So that's just a thought for those who have younger kids. We were going to give out prizes for people who are dressed in wiener attire. I call that a door prize, but yeah. But you have to be wearing something with a wiener theme on it. Family friendly only, please. Anyway, here we go.
All right, so I think we're going to transition to our next speaker, and it is Jerry Socherman.
Hey, everybody. So we've got a fantastic group of people that we work with in Miami. It's a great committee. It started as our Great Strides Committee, but now they still work year-round, but we meet all year long. We keep them engaged and involved 12 months a year, minus about 6 weeks in the summer. People need a little bit of a break, and it's harder to get together with people, but we do keep them involved. They are a committed group. We've got about 20 people on our committee. Our meetings average, 12 to 15 people. We host them at my home. We feed people. Every meeting we have dinner. Keeps them engaged, keeps them involved. They look forward to it. And they're just a fantastic group. But that's what I'm here to talk about, is how do we keep them involved year-round. First it was just Strides. But we recognized early on that Strides, everybody has a walk. All the different organizations do, and they're all great causes. And that we were going to be able to grow our Great Strides campaign through passion fundraising. That it was going to be something that we could do and continue to keep people involved and engaged, not just our committee, but our community, to be able to get them and do something different and unique. So we've got a variety of different passion events that we do, and this group works on most of them. We do have a couple of others that aren't other events that we do where there are kind of subcommittees where some of us will sit on those committees too, to kind of keep it consistent, and we let this committee group know about the events. Sometimes they come out and help, sometimes they come out and participate, other times they don't. But I mean, it is a tremendous group that we're lucky enough to have. At our meetings, we give them an update on how Delaney's doing, what's been going on, as well as some of the other families of CFers, so that they can kind of stay engaged, and then they can share that with people. We also give them the medical update, things that are going on. For example, when we get home, we've got a meeting on the 26th. We'll be talking about VLC for probably 20 minutes, just to give them an update on all the things that went on. I'll leave that to Bonnie, since she's not too tired of still talking from the last 2 days. We also do a thank you event for this particular group. We put something together, we host it at usually someone's home. We recognize all of our committee people, we give them a gift. We also talk about each and every one of them and their contribution to our group, and it's with their families. Thank you.
You're welcome.
So it's not just the committee member, it's them and their family, their kids, their spouse, whomever is involved. And we include some of our key volunteers that are not necessarily part of the committee, as well as some of our key sponsors that will have come out and do that. Trying to look at my notes here without my glasses on. So, and our passion events we try to make them unique or different because, again, we are competing with so many other groups. In South Florida, our walk is in April. It gets too hot in May, March is too early, and when you're fighting spring break, Passover, and Easter in a 1 month period of time, you have a lot of conflicts. I think 4 or 5 out of the last 7 years, we have been on the same day as the Autism Speaks Walk. The years that we're not, we get a bigger crowd. The years that we are, we get a smaller crowd. It's a little bit more difficult to manage. But again, everybody has a walk, and those walks are huge. They don't raise per capita what we do on a per person basis. We have a mighty group. I think that's the same for all of our, walks. For example, March of Dimes, I think, has 10,000 people. They raise $1.4 million. But if you do the math, it's not really that much money per person. We'll have 600 people, and our walk raises $350. So, it makes a big difference. But we use the passion events to help feed into that. We have a celebrity kickball tournament. We do a tailgate. We have a kayak and paddle event. We have a gala that one of our families does, and that all kind of goes through there. So we come up with some different unique things, and we've got some other ideas, and we're always looking to do more. Our goal is to have a passion event every couple of months, so that way we can keep people engaged and keep going through there. That's pretty much it as far as our committee and keeping them involved and trying to motivate them. I can talk about kickball. I could always talk about kickball. So, but does anybody have any questions? I'll hit kickball in just a second, but does anybody have any questions about keeping people involved or anything yet?
So just a quick one. So the folks that are meeting every month, who is that? Other families? Everybody that's...
No, they're our committee, the committee that we grew into the Great Strides Committee. It is our Great Strides Committee, and they work on these passion events as well as Strides. So our kickball tournament was 2 weeks ago, and our Strides is April 15th, and this group, we meet year round, but starting after the first of the year, we are meeting almost every 2 weeks because until the end of April. And we do a wrap-up meeting at the end. We dissect our event and start working on it for the following year. Within 2 weeks of the event itself, we will do a review and what went right, what went wrong, what are the things we want to improve on, any ideas, concepts, who can we go after to try and grow it and do it even better. So, as far as our kickball tournament goes, It's a fantastic event. It's a celebrity kickball tournament. We've got teams that play in the tournament, 24 teams. The winning team, once they get through, gets to play against a group of NFL all-star legends. And we have a celebrity chair, Bryant McKinney, who played in Minnesota and Baltimore and then ended his career in Miami. But he went to the University of Miami and recruits all of his friends, because it's called Kick CF with Bryant McKinney and Friends. And some of the people that have played in our tournament are household names: Santana Moss, Willis McGahee, Ed Reed, Edgerrin James, DJ Williams, Jonathan Vilma, Brett Romberg. So it's really an incredible list, and that helps to draw people in. We get about 600 people to come out, and we're working on that already for next year, even though Strides is still only a few weeks away. So I've got some cards here if anybody wants information on what it is that we do. Any other questions? Okay, you got a question? How can you engage people year-round? Passion fundraising events and social media. You guys can talk amongst yourselves, and then I guess we'll get some feedback from you as a group. All right. So do we have, from the group, do we have anything? Does anybody have any ideas for passion fundraising events? I mean, I can tell you some of the things we're looking at to do because we're still growing ours. Does anybody have any ideas that they came up with? Anything that they do, want to talk about? Okay, hang on. And then we're going to tell you some of the ones that we got on our table.
I didn't actually discuss this with my table. I'm just going to tell you how I keep one of my key volunteers involved every year. It's a friend of mine from Hawaii, and she, I'll say, hey, I'm like, what are you doing in June? She's like, well, I'll be at your walk. I'm like, okay, good. But we love this local restaurant, Uncle Bo's. It's great. But yeah, all I have to do is I'm like, okay, when do you want to go to Uncle Bo's? All right, and we take her. We have our Prosecco. We have our dynamite shrimp. But I know every year Nicole's going to be there at the walk. I don't even have to give her a date. She's like, yeah, I'll be there. And so she shows up every year. And, afterwards, my husband and I, not that day, because we all know at the end of Great Strides Day, you're not doing anything else. But we go down and we go and have dinner. And that's one of the ways that I just make sure she's coming back every year.
I'm sure that Kylie will say this at some point, but as a shameless plug to the foundation, we do, at least the people at our table didn't know that passioncff.org is the site for passion fundraising, and it's like the Pinterest of fundraising. So without reinventing the wheel, you can just hit view all and scroll for hours of time suck till you see something, and you can think, oh, I love that, and then click on their fundraiser and see what they're charging for tickets or what their sponsor levels are called, and get some really good ideas that way.
And we do have a handout that has all that information about the Passion Fundraising site back here on the table, so please grab it on your way out.
And the other thing you can do is when you get that information, their contact information isn't on there, but you can try and reach out to that local chapter to connect you with those people. So some of the things that we do a tailgate in the fall. We'll do it at a local restaurant. We'll do it for a home road dolphin game, and it'll be a unique game time. They've played in London 2 or 3 times in the last few years, and so that's a morning time. The kickoff is at 9 a.m., so we would do a breakfast. And you're not competing, and you're not taking some restaurants. It's a lot of business on Sundays in the afternoon, so they're not going to give you space or any kind of a deal on doing an event there, but they will for a Sunday morning when nobody's going to go out. And sometimes they'll be open anyway. They'll let the crowd come in, and but you still can get people in there. So we'll do that. We're talking about creating like a supper club, where instead of going out once a month or once every other month, you have either a potluck or you have one family hosting. You have 20 people, 10 couples, whatever, come in. Instead of going and spending the money on wine and dinner at a restaurant, you write a check to the Cystic Fibrosis Foundation for $100. You have a great night. You enjoy yourselves, and you can raise $1,000. You do that 6 times a year. It's $6,000. You haven't really done much of anything, but you've had a great time and you've raised some great money. So you can do it for brunch. You can do it for dinner. You can do it however you want. Another idea we have, we're still working on this. We have one of our families that participated in a fundraiser in New York. It's a bowling thing. Bowling alleys. We don't have many of them in Miami that aren't the expensive ones like Lucky Strike or whatever, but we have one that isn't. So this bowling event, which like I said, we're still tossing around, it's not your typical bowling event. Each frame is bowled differently. One, you're bowling with your non-dominant hand. The next one, you're spinning around twice and bowling between your legs. Another one, you might be hopping and bowling. Another one, it might be blindfolded. So each frame is done differently, frame by frame, all the lanes, you do it, and then you've got a score, but you're having a great time. Hopefully you can get the bowling alley to give you a break on the price. You're going to buy up a bunch of lanes, have a great night. Obviously, a lot of bowling alleys have their own bar or whatever, so there's alcohol involved, which will make it a lot more fun because you're trying to do these crazy things. And, so we're trying to work on how we put that together, but that's our next project, I think. And then somebody announcing, so a DJ, whatever, with music, but somebody announcing what you're doing in each frame. And it's something we're taking a look at. All right, any other questions, any other events, ideas? Yep, we got Janet here, and we got one in the back. Kylie, you want to take that one, and I'll get this one?
Can I ask for ideas? Does anyone have ideas on things that my daughter's sorority can do?
The kickball tournament they can do. Because that's what, we'll talk about that in a minute.
Jess will answer the story.
Hi, my name is Jessica. I'm the executive director in Philadelphia, and I'm a former sorority girl myself. So one thing that worked really well, and I'd be happy to chat with you later, depending on the school and their dining facilities, a lot of colleges will let Greek Life rent, it's usually like $100, out the dining hall, and we every year did a midnight pancake breakfast on like a Thursday night, the cool going out night. So from like midnight to 3 a.m., we partnered with a fraternity and charged everyone, I don't know, $5 or something. They could use their dining card. So then the school also would tally it up, or they could use cash. And we ended up, the first year we did it, granted this was a lot longer ago probably than I'd care to admit, we raised $25,000 for it wasn't, I wish it was for cystic fibrosis, it wasn't, but, and it's super easy, and if you have the cooperation of the school and the dining facility, it's no sweat. I'd be happy to talk to you about it.
I was just going to offer an idea. We have a team in Nashville that started a cornhole tournament through Passion Fundraising, and their first year they netted $59,000. This year they did $75,000, and it's what I call a high-end cornhole tournament because they have customized cornhole boards at a $3,000 level entry fee. It's beer, barbecue. If anybody wants information, I'll be happy to share it with you, but it's a really great event.
All right, speaking of the sorority thing, just a quick, DeFi's one of their national philanthropies is the Cystic Fibrosis Foundation. It's been a connection for 60 years. And in your local cities, if there's a DeFi chapter, please reach out to them. It makes a tremendous difference. Bonnie started with DeFi in Miami 6 years ago. That year they raised $17,000. They have raised up to $80,000, that chapter, for DeFi at their event. They are invested in Delaney. They want her to be a DeFi when she grows up. And they come out to our events. They will bring teams out to Great Strides. They participate in kickball. They want to get involved. So that is an untapped group of dynamic women that can come out and help. And then when they leave college, if they stay in the community, they can continue to get involved. And if they move away, obviously, we hope that they get involved in those cities.
Thank you so much to all of our presenters, and thank you to all of you for joining us.